All right, everyone, we should be live. Let's make sure that's actually the case over on Rumble, of course. We will start it, then we will pause it. I see that there's some basic spam in chat to Emrud8109. I don't know how it happened. I don't even know what you were posting, actually. We'll be talking about some crazy news today. Now, we've got Tulsi Gabbard to cover, RFK Jr., of course. Pennsylvania polling, actually. Zuckerberg torching the Biden administration. Walz lying repeatedly. There's probably no surprise there. And then there's a couple of poor bastards that are stranded up in space right now. And Boeing was unable to actually extract them with their capsule, with their lander. And so they're going to have to retroactively modify some things in order to use SpaceX actually to extract the two astronauts that are up in orbit and they can't get out of it. It's slated for next year, actually. So they're going to be up there through the holidays. And I don't know whether that sucks or rules. Being in zero G must be pretty fun, but it must get a little bit claustrophobic on the International Space Station. Just saying. Just, yeah, another example of Boeing and their excellent engineering that the U.S. government said, nope, this ain't happening. NASA told them, this isn't going to work. We have to use Elon Musk. And you know that they're reluctant to do so because, of course, Elon Musk has endorsed Donald Trump effectively for the presidency. So, yeah. Styx doesn't like gold. He's a silver guy, says Broman Dude. Absolutely. Yes, I'm Asmund Silver, I suppose. There is a topical similarity. I like to think that my goatee is a little bit nicer myself. We'll be talking about astronauts and shit. And a lot of other fun stuff, too. We'll get right to the news, actually, because I might cut it a little bit short today. I've got other stuff that I have to do. And, of course, tomorrow I will be live with the Quartering again. Mondays and Wednesdays at 1 p.m. I'm live with him. And so, yeah, just a forewarning. Set your calendars because there's always some crazy stuff that happens. It's weird. All of the crazy stuff always happens right before I go live with Jeremy, with the Quartering. And so otherwise, it's a slow news docket sometimes. And it's kind of strange. Underreported polling suggests Trump is poised to win Pennsylvania. Now, underreported polling, I'm going to click out of the article entirely here. Let me give my thoughts. According to the polling in Pennsylvania, it's better than it was in 2016 or in 2020. The same is true of general election polling. When you see somebody blackpilling you and saying Kamala Harris is inevitably going to win, she's up by a point nationally. Just remind them that Hillary Clinton was up by about 7 points at the same state in the race. Then remind them that she has to actually debate Donald Trump or duck out and therefore look like a coward. I'm not surprised that the state polling in the swing states is basically tacking along with the same momentum. Hillary Clinton was up in the competitive states by a point or two at least. Throughout the election. There were very, very few polls that showed Donald Trump up. In 2020, when he supposedly lost by a couple 100,000 votes at most, he was behind in virtually every poll. Competitive states, general election matchup, didn't matter whether third-party candidates were included. He was far, far behind. Biden, I think, was up by 8 or 9 points at this point in the election. I don't know. I'm not even going to bother looking at the polling. All I'm going to say is don't get blackpilled. Donald Trump is doing spectacularly better than he did in 2016 when he won. And, it's not even close as far as the performance in 2020 when supposedly, again, he lost in a very, very close election. No black pill zone. Don't worry about it. All we've got to do is get enough people to knock on doors, especially in the competitive states. And RFK Jr. was correct the other day when he said there were 10 swing states, not just 6. They're just not polling for them. Not polling for Minnesota, New Hampshire, Maine, or Virginia as much as they are for the states that tend to lean slightly red, but are still swing states. If Trump can win with half of these, he only needs half. He doesn't need anything more than that. And I consider North Carolina to be off the table. So technically, RFK Jr. is wrong on that one. I don't really think that that's a swing state. It could be that Georgia is. We're not 100% sure. We need more polling. And that's the other thing that I would caution people. Right now, we're in a period of chaos, politically speaking. We've just had several major shakeups within the race. We've had a near assassination. We've had an incumbent decide not to run, and his running mate is the one that's running, the VP, which is Kamala. We've had a slurry of Democrats flee the party and endorse Trump. We've had a bunch of Republican staffers, mainly linked to Bush, which is no surprise, endorse Kamala Harris. We don't exactly know what's going on right now. It's too chaotic for the polls to really be meaningful. And really, we have to wait until the September 10th debate before we're going to know buttfuck anything. So you've got a couple of weeks to wait before we're going to get even the beginnings of any polling that makes sense. Right now, none of it makes sense because everything is completely up in the air. We've also got to wait for the decision by Judge Merchan as well. So I just wanted to point that out. Donald Trump is ostensibly up in Pennsylvania, but we have to wait for more data, of course. Lightning stab. Suspect any other Democrat names endorse Trump? Possible. Entirely possible. Sparky. Greetings, fearless leader. Greetings to you as well. Suck Duck. Bridge is the new DEI. Find it with social impact. Interesting. Beach has 52. Is there any truth to Texas potentially becoming an issue this election? No. Like before, don't worry about Texas too much. BW, why do I hear Texas electoral votes might be stolen? Well, they can try to do the ballot printers going burr, but they'll have to get around Greg Abbott. I think that'll be a little bit difficult. What do fuck? One problem with restaurants is Ozempic. It kills your appetite, so blowing $100 for you and your date at Red Lobster doesn't sound that appealing if nothing tastes good. Lord of the Ree, and we are live. Let's make sure that's actually the case. Yes, I can see we have a spamming bundle of sticks retard over on Rumble. That's about all. Peace out. And Last Beacon is sending tits again. You know, that's a lot of tits. It'll be like Mardi Gras. Sparky, has there been any significant effort to make it a free and fair election? Doesn't seem like it. There is defortification in a few states. Georgia, Pennsylvania, actually Arizona now because of court decisions. So there is definitely hope. Yes, Trump is capable of winning the election. WCW just sent a Twitter DM. FEMA dropped off 100 plus illegals from Haiti in Silacauga, Alabama. I can't really pronounce that. People are freaking out and aren't happy because the trailers will be set near their homes. Oh, the poor people. Honestly, I think that they should mainly send them to rich bitch areas. Like Kamala Harris, she needs to have a couple trailers on her property. Walk the walk. Don't just talk the talk. Last Beacon, I'm still worried about Texas. I know that you keep saying we shouldn't worry, but I'm still gonna worry. Yes, but in all honesty, I like you. You're a clanker, so I like you. But you seem to be inordinately worried about the election. Don't worry so much. If you are worried, then get active. Knock on a couple of doors. You bring 2 reluctant friends to vote or something like that, you've done your part. If everyone does that, then we can't help but win. I am worried about the possibility of a Kamala presidency. I just think that it's much more likely that Trump will win re-election. By the way, we've got Zuckerberg. Yeah, I always call him Borg because he's clearly a failed 2.5 generation synth from like Fallout. He's like the evil version of Nick Valentine, basically. You know, he's Nick Valentine minus the trench coat and the fedora and the revolver. He probably couldn't shoot the broadside of a barn. He's come out and he released a paper actually the other day, and he was crucifying the Biden regime. Mark Zuckerberg says White House pressured Meta over Voldemort disease content. Chief of Facebook parent says Biden administration was wrong and is ready to push back in the future. Zuckerberg poured a shit ton of money into the 2020 election, but then they tried to cajole him. Now, I don't trust Zuckerberg in and of himself. He doesn't believe in free expression. He's no Elon Musk, in other words. He's not a purist on the issue. He's used his platform for evil, mainly. When Zuckerberg is telling you that the current administration is fucked and that it spied on people and contacted his company to try to censor people, that's probably, you've definitely crossed a red line at that point. He's openly acknowledging that. And I think the reason is this. Ultimately, at the end of the day, let's say that you're in big tech. It's all about the Benji Greens. It's all about the money. So if the administration has caused a scandalous affair with your company and you're losing money as a result of that, you're going to throw them under the bus if you think that you have the ability to do so. That's exactly what we see from Zuckerberg right here and right now. He's thrown the Biden administration under the bus. Is he partially culpable? Yes, of course. In his as CEO of Meta, of course, Zuckerberg is partially responsible for the day-to-day operations. The buck stops there. But it's funny to watch him crucify the Biden administration, say, well, they came to us and they were talking about election disinformation and the Voldemort disease and all this other stuff, and they were telling us to take posts down. And we're not going to be doing that anymore. And by the way, I'm not actually going to be paying a bunch of money to your political campaigns this particular election season. Well, that was a lot of fucking goddamn money. That put Biden over the edge. I mean, it wouldn't have even plausible that he would have a victory if it weren't for the cooperation of Zuckerberg and Meta. While Boomer Book is no longer necessarily the greatest political force in the world, like it may have been in 2007 or something like that, it still does have enough power. It's basically like you can't buy a senator, but you can rent one from time to time. If you get the reference, the movie reference, definitely tell me. Joey Giamatti, do you think Trump will win the Rust Belt? Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania. I think he gets 2 of the 3, depending on the results of the debate, of course, assuming that it even happens. Again, it's impossible for me to really make a judgment here because we're not even sure, is there going to be a debate? Is Kamala ever going to hold a presser? She's promised to do so by the end of the month. I ain't seeing it so far. And, there's only half a week left. Kamala is basically hiding. Trump is going out there every day into the trenches and engaging with people. But we haven't had a debate. We haven't had any non-chaotic new polling, which we'll have to wait till after the debate. This is the most chaotic election that I've ever seen. And 2016 is one of the things that I'm known for, my analysis in 2016. That was easy to read compared to what we're dealing with right now. Therefore, I can't really make any predictions whatsoever on the issue. But I think that he probably prevails in the debate. I think that he gets a boost. I would favor him probably in Pennsylvania and Michigan. Wisconsin may be closer. The bonus holes. The Zuckerberg got his emotion chip installed and has developed sentience. That is why he seems more human now. We should all be afraid, very afraid. Still cooler than that penis head Elon. Yeah, Zuckerberg has sort of relapsed into his so-called left libertarian period, actually. Maybe it's a midlife crisis. Maybe he's like, you know what? I'm a fucking billionaire. Why am I playing around with these people when I can do what the fuck I want? RJ Sticks, the Tampon Tim meme was started on Bongino's show with the help of Cat Turd on Twitter. You guys were talking about it yesterday on the quartering. Yeah, it's a funny one. Tim Walz wants tampons in the boys' restrooms in elementary schools. Why this is necessary remains to be seen. BW, you think we will ever get a convention of states going to fight federal overreach? Last time I heard it was 2 states away. It is possible. Anything's possible if you work hard enough to achieve it. What we need is Nigel Farage for the United States, basically. Last beacon, mainly because of the neocon Republicans for Harris Lincoln Project faction that feel it's their need to snap people out of MAGA and get them back into the neoconservative fold. The Lincoln Project is staffed by pedophiles and liberals. It has nothing to do with conservatism whatsoever. Not a single person there is a disaffected Republican. They were all liberal to begin with. There are Republicans who are liberal. They just didn't really like the fact that the Republican Party actually decided to start fighting. They're the sort of lose with grace crowd. Ignore them completely. Sparky, Sylacauga, Alabama, is where a lot of the pure white marble on monuments in D.C. came from. A town in Italy is the only other place to get it. Yes, Palermo, if I remember correctly. Soulstorm 9000. After 20 years of public image missteps, the Zuckerberg's PR team are finally landing his image well. Are we really buying it, though? Not I. No, I don't buy it. But every little bit helps. I mean, if he's willing to be a useful idiot and lash out at the Biden administration, I'm not going to say that that's a bad thing. Skizzitybolt. Fishtank.live is enabling independent creators. How difficult would it be to simulcast there? I don't know. I've never seen the site. I can take a look at it later. Last beacon. 2016 and 2020 are now the most chaotic I've ever seen, and I've been through the 2004 election. 2004 was a fucking bore fest. Bush v. Kerry. Ugh. Kerry, the least charismatic person on the face of the earth. Like, he was literally likened to being like a moose or something like that. Jason Lane. What do you make of the highly anomalous registration data coming out of Texas? Could be ramping up for massive fraud. What's your explanation for it? They're trying to weed that out, and I think they'll be generally successful in so doing. But yeah, there are irregularities there, and we want some answers to those questions. Sadly, we won't get them till after the election. Jonathan Doehead, if the election is clearly and obviously fortified, expect the crackdown on election deniers to be brutal. Joel Castillo, Zuckerberg has access to more data than we can dream of. He must be convinced Trump will win and wants to be on his good side. That's part of it. The other part is he can act with impunity because he has that data. When you've got shit on hundreds of millions of people, you tend to have a little bit of power, a little bit of leverage. Last beacon. I do not want a convention of states. It will become hijacked by the left and they'll change the Constitution. Well, I think that they have to have a specific purpose in mind before a convention is actually convented, I believe, if I remember correctly. Sorry. Will RFK Jr.'s endorsement swing the election to Trump? This is The Hill, of course, reporting. They tend to discount it and say, well, it's not really going to be doing much. It doesn't really matter. Yeah, no, the Democrat that has 5 to 6 points of polling support, it's not going to mean anything for the election. Apparently, somebody tipped me off earlier. Apparently, the internal polling said that even if he didn't endorse anyone, 57% of his support would go to Trump as opposed to Harris or a third-party candidate. I don't believe it'll be that high. But I believe it'll be probably 2-1 Trump versus Kamala, and nobody else in the race matters. I think that it won't even be close. I think that it does matter. I think that it gives Trump an extra boost of 1.5 points, maybe 2 points, something like that over his opponent. And that's pretty much all he needs. That puts the polling back at where it was, before Kamala Harris became the candidate. She shot ahead a little bit due to the Kasich effect mainly, which will wear off as well. In the end, I think Kamala will fare more poorly than Biden would have fared. And this is what I've told people consistently. Biden would have been a better candidate, ultimately. He totally flubbed the debate. He looked like a goddamn mess. In fact, later on, I kind of want to watch the debate again just because it was the most insane thing that I've seen in modern politics. Again, George W. could have out-debated Joe Biden at that moment. Herbert Walker would have prevailed over him. Goddamn, Mitt Romney would have won. That being said, though, I still think he would have done better. He's got the incumbency. Okay, so that's important. That's number one. Number two, seems more personable. Number three, doesn't act like a goddamn psychopath. And number four, actually talked to the press. Now, did he have a lot of gaffes when he talked to the press? Yes, of course. But he was the court jester vice president under Barack Obama. Kamala Harris doesn't even want to talk to these people. This is the legacy media. These are her friends. She's completely ignoring them. She still hasn't held a presser in weeks and weeks. Well, at this point, I think it's like a month and a half almost. She hasn't held a presser. She only rarely talks to the press at all. And these are groups like, I mean, Joy Reid could approach her for an interview and she'd probably turn it down. She's literally hiding Harris at this point. And so, yes, the RF Kennedy endorsement, I believe, is meaningful. Does it swing a shit ton of voters? No. Does it swing just the right amount of voters that it's actually meaningful? Yes, I believe that it will. Now, that again, we've got chaotic polling, so that remains to be seen. But in the end, I think my analysis, my opinion, my prediction is that that will indeed be the case. Let's see. Cultivated Mind. Thank you, tigers are my totem. Your order's in the mail. Enjoy these mushrooms in your mouth. New medicinal items coming soon. HTTPS. Cultivated-mind.com. Code STICKS for 10% off. Clank on. Yeah, I'll be shouting out the sponsors in a minute, actually, before I get to the rest of the news. Lord of the Ree. I just had a pork and veggie egg roll for breakfast. Clank. Egg rolls sound good right now. Yeah. Last Beacon. I know about them lose with grace types, but there's also the fact that it's willing to try to get rid of the Trump mindset, continued in the next rant. Again, you seem to be a little bit on the black-pilled side, my friend. Don't worry about it too much. Trump, again, is running 6 points ahead in the polls than he did in 2016. He effectively has no competition unless he really fucks up at the debate. And again, that might not even happen. Dust thou art. Have you seen the insane conspiracy that Trump is the Antichrist and the recent turmoil was all orchestrated by the Freemasons to convince the public they need him like a Hitler scenario? I haven't seen that, but people say that about pretty much every world leader. Reagan was called the Antichrist. There's some, what was the fucking show? I can't remember. There was some talk show, the regional one in California back in the 1980s. They had Radio Werewolf and Tom Metzger and all these others on. And I can't remember exactly what the name of the host was. It was one of the first, one of those sleazy shows that led up to like Springer and Maury and stuff like that, and Wilkos. And there was a hippie looking dude in a robe, actually, that declared Reagan to be the Antichrist and got hauled off the show. Super Mook, do you think Zuck low-key endorsed Trump? Kind of. I think he's betting on Trump more than endorsing him. Last Beacon, and bring conservatism back into a much more familiar setting, aka being pro-war and pro-security state, is mainly the end of the Cold War and into the war on terror type of mindset. I think they will be unsuccessful in so trying to do. I don't think that, I think the genie's out of the bottle with regards to the Republican Party generally. Sparky, better illegal Haitians in Silicalga than Ukrainian Nazi refugees, in my opinion. Ideally, neither. Well, Haitian food is good, but then again, so is Ukrainian food. Pilgrim Media, Boeing has a robust DEI program. Just saying. Yeah, it's a total coincidence. Sparky, Jim Neighbors, Gomer Pyle was from Silicalga. Gomer Pyle was cool. Again, I'm mispronouncing that, I'm sure. Let's get to our sponsors before we get to the rest of the news. We've got cultivated-mind.com, where you can get delicious mushroom pills. Anecdotally, they do boost my energy. I do take them every morning. I'm not lying when I say that. I took the Radiant Energy, actually, this morning. Then there's the, Brain 2. There's the Immune Renew. And I think there are others available as well. And they're all organic. And they do seem to work. I mean, it works for me. Probably protecting my body from all sorts of crazy shit. We got pumpkinfirecrafts.us, where you can get bookmarks, which are important for bibliophiles, keychains, belt chains, engraved spoons, glassware, and much, much more. It's all available there at pumpkinfirecrafts.us. BiltongUSA.com. Yes, you should swallow Anton's meat. It's nice and sweet, especially the cabanasi. That's probably my favorite. Also, Sticks, Hex, and Hammer mugs, tumblers, and shirts available as well. We have Wicked Needle Embroidery.bigcartel.com, the land of Sticks, Hex, and Hammer hats. Several models and colors available. I think most people like the black hat with the offset Ouroboros logo. I kind of like them both. And of course, I tend to wear black, generally speaking. So that's the color that I would choose. I thought that both designs were good, though, myself. HeritageHeirloomSeedCompany.com, where you can get a seed survival bucket. It's probably important considering Bidenomics is still in full sway. You can also get some soap. They hand make their soap. There's a Sticks, Hex, and Hammer blend that comes in a box, and it's cedar, clove, and blueberry, and it's like friggin' great. I've actually, in fact, I've got a block of it right here. And it smells amazing. It's slightly on the clove comes through, I think, the most. I think the clove comes through the most, and then there's the undertone of the blueberry and cedar, actually, and that works for me. It gives a good lather, and I can't get it back into the container, so I'm just going to put it over here. And yeah, it looks like that. It's this cool, like shark blue color. It looks like a chunk of marble or something. We've got websterswares.com/sticks-wares, where you can get various Sticks, Hex, and Hammer merchandise. We've got knives, jackets, metal straws, of course, so you can save some sea turtles. They've also got non-sticks merch there, too. It's a miscellany sort of thing. So there's like fire starters, there's Trump merch, basically anything under the sun, all sorts of cool shit. So definitely check them out. And finally, jamandbean.com. That is JAMNbean.com. With delicious coffee. Sticks, Hex, and Hammer endorse. They've got teas too, but you know, you come for some tea and you end up buying 10 bags of the Costa Rica blend or something like that. Blend number 2, which has been, I think they're going to make a proprietary blend actually specifically for Clankdom. That will be available at some point in the future, and it's fucking delicious. It's literally great. So yeah, those are our sponsors. Ashley. To the guy worried about the election, look at the Uniparty's actions. The Uniparty is failing and freaking out. Relax, but still knock on doors. Yes, if we take action, we win. If we get complacent, we lose. That's the long and short of it. Last weekend, a lot of conservatives that I knew were anti-Ron Paul and pro-security state. Yeah, but that was long ago, back during the Ron Paul revolution days. Lord of the Reed, black pills make you gay, which is why I'll be starting a weekly stream every day Saturday called The Weekly White Pill. Funny stories from around the world as well as good news. Clank the Rumblusi. That sounds cool. Webster's Wares. Good morning, Clankers. Free shipping using code STICKS at websterswares.com. Free shipping on orders over $40. Use code CLANKER2024 for 15% off site-wide. And a follow-up. New Sticks and Trump 30-ounce laser-engraved stainless steel water bottles now available. New MAGA beanies in soon, and America First hoodies for fall being made. Clank, baby! What do fuck? My 40-pound bag of azomite showed up. Your recommendation for next year's tomatoes. I'll prime the soil next month. Azomite is some good shit. Yes, rock powder is good for plants. And azomite does it best. I've still got some. I've got half a bag out there. That'll be sufficient for the garden size. By the way, 40 pounds is an awful lot of azomite. You don't want to use too much. Sparky, the long-running war on small business, union capture and corruption, and deindustrialization caused U.S. middle class to shrink so much, Red Lobster's lucky it lasted beyond the 2008 economic crisis. Yeah, no, I mean, you're right. Absolutely. Redane, Ronald Wilson Reagan has 6 letters each, or 666. So I guess that I'm Ronald Reagan. You could do worse. Meisner Flux. Problem with Antichrist end time stuff is that Revelation was written about its own time. True. and written in code to avoid government censorship at the time. It only seems relevant because human nature remains constant. True. Yes. Revelation there is no end times coming. It's not coming. It's not going to happen. Revelation was indeed about the contemporary time. It was about the decadence of Rome more than anything else. King of Biltong. Biltong is one of the most protein-dense foods in the world. Biltong is also full of B12, zinc, iron, creatine, and more. Looking for a healthy snack? Go to BiltongUSA.com. Sticks for 10% off. Clank. Agreed. BW. Look, I know how hard it is to not be blackpilled, but if you've given up, why are you here? I'm afraid for Texas because the Dems have long been trying to steal it, and the U.S., but I still have some hope. They're not going to get Texas. No. I'm not worried about Texas. They'll try to fortify the election in any way they can. They're not going to be able to get Texas. Friedrich Bormann. Regarding online censorship, Russian libertarians 6 years ago already defended Durov and Russia through a big political campaign. Russian libertarians would like to speak with you. Where can we reach out to collaborate with you? Twitter DM, Stix666 official on Twitter. You can't miss me. Yeah, I would love to collaborate with some Russian libertarians. Tulsi Gabbard endorsed Trump the other day. This is also meaningful. I think this means less than the RFK Jr. endorsement because he was actually in the race. So he had a core fan base, and it was a fairly stubborn one. I think they now lean heavily towards Trump, including some that, mainly he had independent voters on his side. Tulsi, I think, is similar, but she wasn't running for office. She's probably angling for a cabinet position. If I were Trump, I would immediately tell the public that I intended for her to lead like the Department of Defense or something like that. She's a military veteran. She's well-spoken. Just fucking put her in there. Carrie Lake as the White House press secretary. She would be stellar in that role. And RFK Jr. is for the health department. Because effectively, you would generate an enormous amount of attention. Right now, Trump should gobble that shit down because Kamala's not doing anything. She's not making appearances. Everyone talks about her, but she's not doing anything. Steal the thunder from any momentum that she had. Troll them by saying, well, RFK Jr. would make a good health secretary. Tulsi Gabbard would be great in the Department of Defense. By the way, my White House press secretary is going to be a former journalist. So, you might want to toe the line. Trump should stack his cabinet with these people. I believe that he probably will also. He has been shot at. He's been persecuted. He's been sued. His family has been harassed over and over and over again. I think he has a stick up his ass against the establishment that he didn't necessarily have before. Before it was more like, hey, I want to be anti-establishment. I want people to like me. Now it's more like, hey, the establishment fucking sucks, and I really want it to crash and burn. I think that there's a different Trump that we're seeing now. That's why he's acting more presidential. I don't think it's just a debate strategy or something like that. I have a feeling that he genuinely believes in his cause, and he's like, okay, this is my last rodeo. I'm clearly not going to be able to run again. These people have all betrayed me. My former allies talk shit about me all the time. Fuck you. I have a feeling that that's how Trump feels. I mean, I would feel that way, wouldn't you? You donated to all these fucking political campaigns for decades and decades, and then everyone turns their back on you. I think that I think that in his forays into the world of the little people, he's realized that there are personable individuals that genuinely like him, but that it's not in Wall Street. It's not in Los Angeles or something like it. It's not in Beverly Hills. It's in mainstream America, small town America. I think he genuinely appreciates that to an extent. I genuinely do. BW. Now, if we can just get libertarian candidates to drop out, some of those would come to Trump. Let them have their libertarian candidate. I mean, there's no viability there or anything like that, but everyone has the right to run if they qualify for a ballot to run. Dust thou art. I'm surprised to hear you make such an objective statement about a religious topic. Usually you say your take on it, not literally just, nope, your beliefs aren't real and not going to happen. Lol. Well, that's a proper interpretation of Revelation. It is symbolic in nature. It's based partially on gematria, that is the study of numbers. It has nothing to do with the literal end of the world. It has to do with the end of an era, but that era already ended, long, long ago, so it doesn't really matter. It has no contemporary importance whatsoever beyond the symbolic. Ray Atkinson, Stick's favorite meal for burger and side of thighs. Don't understand, your mind is not in the gutter. I don't know exactly what you're referring to there. My mind is in the gutter, but burger and a side of thighs? Do you mean fries and autocorrect decided to fuck you in the ass? Das Lil Tractor, greetings clankers. Reminder to not get blackpilled. Don't flee your favorite hobbies and don't get captured. We're winning bigly. Yes, that's the point. We're winning. We weren't in 2020. In 2020, the polling was completely against Trump. He was ahead by like a point in like 2 polls in that entire polling period. He's at least breaking even right now. It's well within the margin of error. If he can't fail to win if he continues polling literally as he already is. And we've still got a debate and several months to go. There's plenty of time for Kamala Harris to fuck up, and she will. Trust me. Can you name a week or at least a month where she hasn't? I can't. From IVF to his military service, Walz is a bit of a fabulist. Can't we get the truth? Tim Walz displays a disturbing pattern of telling falsehoods about his life and record. It's taken what should be humanizing stories and made them controversial. This is what I don't understand. It's like Tim Walz lies constantly. Well, you are a military veteran, maybe not, I guess, a combat veteran or whatever, but you served in the military. That's good enough. You don't need to lie about your service. You can just say, yeah, I decided I didn't want to go to Iraq. You're a Democrat, so it's going to endear you to the Democratic crowd. I didn't want to deploy to Iraq. That's the reason why I left. Your former battalion commander probably wouldn't have penned that op-ed if you had simply said that. With IVF, I don't even care about the story. And so it's like something that you shouldn't even bother elaborating on. It's completely pointless. Nobody gives a fucking shit about it. Half the public doesn't even know about it. Or the horse semen thing. Lord help Tim Walz if he actually is stupid enough in an interview or something like that to take the bait and bring up the subject and say, I never ate horse semen or something like that. But he's a derpy dude. He's a chucklehead, number one. He sort of reminds me of a younger Joe Biden, actually, at times. He's a chucklehead. He's an overactor. He's like very gestural. He reminds me of Beto O'Rourke on that topic. Basically, Biden's giggly personality from 20 years ago, plus Beto O'Rourke's gesticulation, in Tim Walz's case, probably. And then all of the honesty of Kamala Harris, basically. I'm not surprised that she chose him as a running mate. I suspected that Walz was on the short list long before the short list was actually released. I thought that maybe she was leaning more towards that other dude, Warner, or whatever the fuck his name is, Walker, whatever his name is. But Walz was chosen in the end, and it's probably because of his socialism. He's an unbridled socialist. He has effectively proclaimed that he's a socialist. He said socialism equals neighborliness. He goes to China all the time. Put 2 and 2 to fucking together. There's no confusion about what he's about. By the way, over on Rumble, I see a lot of farting and tits and tartar sauce for some reason. I'm becoming confused as to the meme culture with regards to Rumble live streams as a flat. Can I ping you? Got him. Yeah, that was epic. Wasted Bonehead, good morning from the grave. Dip pretzel sticks in Coca-Cola. Ew, what the fuck? You're trying to make me bulimic. Dust thou art, unpopular opinion. He had the right to retire when he did and didn't abandon anyone. I say this as a disabled vet myself. Anyone has the right to get out the end of any given contract and should. I agree with you, actually. You are correct. It's a big deal from the standpoint of active military, basically. But that still makes it a big deal, especially in a state like Virginia. Last beacon. Okay, enough of the spamming. I'm concerned they have a debate. They'll try to trip Trump up. They threw Biden to the metaphorical wolf that is Trump. Yeah, Trump can easily out-debate Kamala Harris. I'm not even remotely worried about that. She couldn't debate pretty much anyone in chat right now. Across platform, there's like 5,000 people watching. 4,500 of you would defeat Kamala Harris in a debate. She is on the lowest tier when it comes to coherence. Don't worry about that one. Alex, top of the morning to you. Did you see the ex-post R.E. Biden leaving California, greeted by Marines in plain fatigues instead of proper uniform, while 45 was being honored with Marines in proper uniform, being a subtle message of strength? No, I didn't see that, actually. Wouldn't surprise me, though. Ray Atkinson, Fur Burger, think female. I'm assuming it's a vagina reference or something like that. Yes, vaginas are good. They're the reason that all of us exist. Every single one of us came out of one. They are wonderful. Sparky, wish you'd pass that insight into Revelations along to your pal Mike Pompeo. I don't really debate religion as much anymore. Last time I debated it, I think it was with Nick Fuentes, actually, ironically. I have my own views with regards to the mystic, the occult, religion in general. I am anti-religious. I am apatheistic, but I am very, very spiritual. I do believe literally in the things that I say, and I will never mislead anyone about my actual opinions. Whether they believe them or not is up to them. Crossover Mania. RFK Jr. apparently beheaded a dead beached whale 30 years ago to keep its skull. And now lawfare leftists want him arrested for having a part of a protected animal, which is illegal. If that's true, he could actually get in trouble for it. Look up ambergris, for example, the basis for old school perfumes before modern synthetics. It's literally just whale earwax or snot or something like that. And it comes in the form of a waxy looking rock-like substance. It is illegal to possess it in the United States. Well, it doesn't matter if you got it 30 years ago. You're still possessing it now, aren't you? Although, I mean, come on. Ralph J. Zuckerberg has been hanging out with Dana White in the UFC crowd. That's why he's slowly turning the page with freedom of speech and expression. Well, Trump's big in with those people too, so yeah, maybe. Wasted Bonehead, I'll pay you $10 to get some Coca-Cola and dip a single pretzel in and eat it. Well, maybe next live stream. I don't have any pretzels, and mainly my dad drinks Pepsi, not Coca-Cola. What do fuck? By the way, please send no more super chats. I got one more story to get to, and then I've got to get moving into the garden briefly and do other things. What do fuck? Do you think tomatoes getting smaller over the growing season has to do with them depleting the nutrients from the soil? I don't know. BW, the fact that you have a legal right to not go into combat does not make it less morally despicable, especially for a guy that was supposed to be a leader. Yeah, I mean, there were people that would react with, like, disdain to that, basically. It's like, what the fuck? Sparky, I think they thought Tim Walz being from Minnesota would recover some Muslim votes since it was a significant Muslim population. They were wrong. Yeah, no, he's the court jester of the would-be Kamala administration. He would probably act basically like Joe Biden did when he was VP for Obama. Final news story, stranded Boeing Starliner astronauts will not return home until 2025, according to NASA. Yeah, they've they had a week-long flight test, and now it looks like 8 months is their stay in space. By the way, I hope that they get hazardous duty and overtime pay as a result of this. The seasoned pilots have been stuck at the International Space Station. You could do worse. It's like a little hotel. Since the beginning of June. A cascade of vexing thruster failures and helium leaks in the new capsule marred their trip to the space station. Oh, okay. And they ended up in a holding pattern as engineers conducted tests and debated what to do about the flight back. After almost 3 months, the decision finally came down from, hello, I'm live streaming at the moment. You'll have to wait a few minutes. from NASA's highest ranks on Saturday. Butch Wilmore and Suni Williams will come back in a SpaceX capsule. Yes, Elon Musk is rescuing the fucking astronauts. In February, their empty Starliner capsule will undock in early September and attempt to return on autopilot with a touchdown in the New Mexico desert. Well, if it was made by Boeing, I give at most a 50-50 chance that the autopilot is capable of returning the capsule. It'll probably just burn up on re-entry or smash into the sand or go off course and land in the ocean. Boeing has had a slurry of problems lately, many of which were self-inflicted due to lack of maintenance mainly. On planes, now you've got them in space. It's like, it's something that you bank on. If you're a warmonger, going into Boeing stock or Raytheon and stuff like that is usually a good idea. But I think that some of them are probably divesting themselves at this point. They're saying, well, I want to make a return. I like war. I like that you make war planes. But the warplanes keep randomly breaking up in transit and shit like that. I don't know if this is a sound investment. I don't know if it's a good idea. I'm not surprised at all that Boeing would once again be incidental to such a problem. I see barf whale, grass touch, tartar sauce. I don't know what's going on over in Rumble. Wasted Bonehead. No more super chats? Fine. Peace out. Clank. Knee grow. I'll get the reference. Dust thou art. How retarded do you have to be to scorn someone for not going to combat when you haven't gone yourself? What a dumbass. Let's not have a clanker inner fighting war or anything like that. I see both sides of it. On the one hand, if you're not contractually obligated, you don't want to go into a war zone, there's nothing wrong with that. Cut it short. But when you lie about having been in that particular war, that becomes a problem. It's stolen valor. The problem is stolen valor. It's not the fact that he decided not to be redeployed. Boeing is the new Buick. I think Buick's probably doing better than Boeing at the moment. Sparky, it isn't so much that Tim Walz quit before deployment as he later claimed to have carried a rifle in combat when he was never in combat. Exactly. It's about stolen valor. I mean, I'm putting myself in his shoes. Would I have wanted to deploy? Probably not. Would I have done so on principle because I had my boys? Yeah, I probably would have if I was in a command position. I would have been willing to do that. Would I have wanted to, though? Would it be like the thing that I wanted to be doing, or would I want to have a bowl of ice cream? I wouldn't have wanted to deploy. A sense of duty would have compelled me, but I can totally understand his position. What I can't understand is why he pretends that he was in active combat. He lied. I mean, he's been lying repeatedly for an extended period of time with regards to this. Just tell people the truth. I didn't want to serve in Iraq. My contract was up, so I decided not to deploy. Okay, there's no harm, no foul. Just don't pretend that you were actually in war. That's all you had to do. It's a self-inflicted wound with Tim Walz at the end of the day. Yeah, I mean, he would have supplied his troops with anal tampons, I suppose. Yeah, if you shove this in your ass and if you get shot, then you won't immediately empty your bowels all over the place. And we won't have to smell your shit. There's a lot of fucking and farting going on over there. I see ping us, fart. Vegan Princess says fart, fart, fart. Last Beacon says ping us, ping us, ping us. And is posting titty emojis. Yeah. Yeah, dust thou art, exactly. It's because he lied about being in combat. It's not about the fact that he decided not to redeploy. Barf whale. I'm looking at the chat over on Rumble, and those of you that are watching on YouTube, you should see it. It's quite a spectacle. I don't know what the hell's going on. Ambergris and coffee, anyone? Is it worth it? It's probably not worth the federal felony charges for having possessed it. Yeah, if you find ambergris on the beach in the United States, you're not allowed to take it. You can't do anything with it. I can you please go out and tell him that I'm live streaming? That's a little bit of a distraction. Jesus Christ. My uncle is out there and carrying a bucket around, and I don't think he's aware of the fact that I'm live streaming. Just normal times in the Warwick household. Jesus. Can you stick your dick in ambergris? I don't know. I think it's too much. It's basically like a rock, like copal or something like that. Key fusion. I'm behind, but Revelation actually describes what happens as the sun moves into its red giant phase a few billion years from now. I don't think that the sun deciding to become a red giant would result in a woman riding a hydra, walking through the streets, whoring herself out to people. Yeah, chat right now is absolutely insane. I can't keep up with it. Only 4,000 watching? No, cross-platform, it's almost 5,500 actually at the moment. Libertarian spirit, left liberal blob came after Pavel Durov. If Dems win, Musk is finished. Deep state will never forgive him. Yeah, that's probably why Musk is backing Trump. Fuck Boeing, fuck Boeing, fuck Boeing. Oh, Fanaron, you can't? Users can't individually mute other users? I thought they could. Just a sec. I don't mute anyone. I can mute users, but that's because it's my channel. So I don't do the censorship thing because I know how fun it is to spam a little bit. I don't care if somebody spams tartar sauce or pingus or something. Huh. God, I thought that you could individually mute. I'll have to bring that up with the people at Rumble. Although it's kind of fun when you think about it. Only mods and owners can do it. Huh. Yeah, but anyway, I've got to go offline because my uncle is here, number one. Number two, I'm kind of hungry. And I've got some nice ice-cold V8 waiting for me, actually, at the rental property. I had one this morning, but I think I want another. I like to drink a couple of those every day. And I want to get more of them as well because V8 is the best. So I will be back tomorrow. Keep in mind, I will also be live with the Quartering at 1 p.m. I'll be his co-host on Wednesday, usually Mondays and Wednesdays. Occasionally I move to Friday where I pick up an extra show. And so that's basically the itinerary. I go live every weekday around this same time. Lord of the Ree, what if I spam the N-word? You might be able to get away with that over on Rumble, but I won't be able to quote your comment if you do something like that for fairly obvious reasons. Although you can use the hard R on Rumble. It's actually, if it's in the context, you're not calling someone the N-word or something. If you're just talking about the word, then it's perfectly acceptable. It's not on YouTube, though. Now, if you use the word at all, even in a critical context, like you're saying, oh, the N-word is bad, but use the hard R, you'll get banned, actually, for that. Keep in mind, linguistics are how we control people's minds because it's the best way to convey information from one person to another to be interpreted by that person. Yeah, you can say cock. Cock is fine. Bundle of sticks, I don't believe is allowed on YouTube, even for critical reasons. And Miku Huntu, nuclear, 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 nuclear. Or as George W. would call it, nuclear. I got a nuclear bomb that I put in Laura this morning. And then I put a dirty bomb in the toilet. Yeah, I like George W. jokes. They're pretty funny. Strategery. Them Arab strategery. Nuclear strategery. That's about all.